And we're live here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive. I have Rob with me today, and I'm excited to hear about his story because Rob is a brain injury survivor and he's got a great story to share. So, Rob, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. So, start off by sharing a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Absolutely. I'm Rob Baugh. I live in Indiana. Um, I have a day job, but after my day job is finished, I spend a lot of time doing work for brain injury awareness. I started a podcast. It'll be 2 years in December. We're still growing every day. I've started a support group online. We're 2,000 members strong. Um, I also have a website. I wrote a book. I recently wrote a song that's not been published yet, but we're getting the copyright for it. As soon as the copyright's done and the music is finalized, I'll record it with some other brain injury survivors and we're going to make a music video. It's just so much going on. And then another personal project is my book, My Life Rewired, which is basically about my brain injury, but I didn't want it to be just exclusive for brain injury survivors. So I included all kinds of traumas that I've lived through. So each chapter is dedicated to different traumas that I have gone through, different abuses, and won't go into that, but uh, gotten great feedback about it. So that's what I do. I spend all my free time just trying to bring awareness to the invisible injury.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing that, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Uh, do you mind going back to telling us the whole story on how this
Sure.
started with you, for you?
Yeah, absolutely. 5 years ago, actually will be tomorrow is my 5 year anniversary. Um, just a normal day. I work from home and I went out at 2 o'clock to feed my fish. And upon coming back in the door, a bee flew by my head. And I am allergic to bees, so I had a knee-jerk reaction and I ended up knocking myself out. I had a 3 inch laceration, I think it was, across my skull. Knocked me out. And thankfully, when I came to, my wife was home. She took me to the ER. 5 staples later, I was looking for purpose for my pain. I've lived well, tomorrow will be 5 years I've had a migraine headache. And keep pressing on. I have anxiety, depression, and you can't tell it from the smile I wear, but I call it my mask.
Wow, that's crazy. So you live in constant pain?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'd never know it from your face.
right.
You're just kind of used to
Yeah,
it, or
that's
how
the
does it,
thing.
how does that go?
That's the thing is whenever you have, when you're in pain, you have to learn how to either sink or swim. And I'm not a sinker. So it's just like somebody, if you say if you lost an arm or a leg in battle or whatever, you learn how to manage. I mean, you have to. There's just when you get to this point in your life that this is your life, you learn how to make it work.
Yeah. Well, so are some days better than others?
Yeah, some
Yeah.
days are a lot better than others. If the barometric pressure has a big change, like if a big dip in the pressure or it just spikes, that's the days that I can't hardly get out of bed.
Wow. Wow. So now you've had this injury and you're learned to kind of live with the pain. So you're helping other people
Right.
be aware of all
Yeah,
this.
I
Because I
had
mean,
no idea what sadly it took me 3 years laying in bed looking for a purpose and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? This can't be it. There has to be, I didn't want to make why me. I wanted to make how can I help others with what I've gone through. And I didn't realize there was so very little information that's given to you when you leave a hospital. You're on your own. They send you home and most of the times you're told take it easy for a few days and go back to work as needed. And a few years into it, I joined a support group finally, which is the thing I should have done from day one because I found so much support and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm not the only one going through this. Pre-injured Rob thought when you got a brain injury, in a half hour, your life was back to normal again, or in a couple of days, like you see in the movies. So not the case. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I decided. I'm like, I've got to do something. And after I published my book, my my author, not my author, my sorry, my publisher, she says, "Would you like to do a website?" I'm like, "No idea how to do a website." So she's like, "I'll show you." She created a really great website for me. And I said, the one thing that's very important for me is to have resources. Because here we are 5 years out, and I'm still learning things that are available to survivors that I had no idea. And it just really bothers me that people have to recreate the will.
Yeah. I get that. Well, before we get into more of that, what was that moment like when you said, okay, I need to find the support group or I need to do something else that this is my journey now to help other people find these resources. What was that switch for you?
That switch was kind of like, okay, now I have a purpose. But after I found that purpose, I'm like, okay, I do have a purpose, but how do I execute the purpose? I knew I wanted to help, but I didn't know how to help.
Let's see.
So then I just started researching. I'm like, I would lay in bed at night and I went on YouTube and I would look for people that are doing the things on my podcast that I'm doing, and I couldn't find it. All I was finding was, neurologists that are saying this is what a brain injury is, and this is what it feels like. And I'm thinking, I know this. How does that support me? I
Yeah.
wanted to hear real life stories of how people are, what they're going through. And what I found after I started my podcast is that there are people out there that have it a lot better than me, and there are people out there that have it a lot worse than I do. So that was what it was all about. It was making people, making connections, building a community so people can see that they are not alone. All they want to do is to know that they are accepted and loved. You go out to a restaurant and say you have a cast on your arm. People are holding the door for you. They're going out of their way to make everything right for you. You have a brain injury, most likely you don't look like you have a brain injury and people ignore it. And even if you tell them you have a brain injury, they go, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then just brush it off. And the one thing we hear so often, which is so insulting to a brain injury survivor, is, "Well, you look great." I can't tell. But people don't realize what they don't realize. If you don't know that's insulting, you're just going to keep doing it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope this doesn't sound insulting, but you seem like a really functional person.
Yeah.
You know, to have a brain injury is,
Hmm.
the fact that I'm sitting here speaking to you and
Right.
everything seems normal, right? So
Right.
I I, I apologize if it comes across,
Oh,
you
no,
know,
no worries. We've,
yeah.
trust me, I've heard
So, but
everything. Someone once told me, "Oh, you're
yeah,
driving a car. You must be better." Like, what's the connection between driving and better? Think of how many people are driving right now that's got a brain injury.
yeah. Well, this is why what you're doing is so important because we just
Yeah,
don't know.
right. Think back years ago when little people were called the M word.
Yeah,
We didn't realize it was so degrading to them. And
yeah,
now the awareness is out there that we're hearing from them, "Hey, you're insulting us by calling us that word." So now people are taken aback and they're thinking, "Oh, wait a minute. I need to be a little more conscious about this."
yeah, yeah. Well, so what else, are you, besides the pain and you said some anxiety,
Hmm.
but what on a day to day, how are you kind of impaired from this injury?
Well, for one thing, the word searching is a little more difficult. I don't know if you've ever familiar with something called aphasia.
Yeah,
Aphasia is where, say, I know that that is a car door, but I can't, my brain won't grab the word car door,
I see.
so I describe it. For example, I would say, the open and shut thing. It's easier to say car door, but your brain does not find that word.
Hmm.
Um, And then the funny thing around here is my wife says I'm fluent in Robbese because I have all these little describers for things. Um, One of the things that she cracks up about, I'll say, "Do we have any sandpaper sticks?" You know, uh, I can't think of the word for it. If you get a hangnail,
Right.
but to me, that's a sandpaper stick because it's a little stick with sandpaper on it. Or another favorite of my wife's is the um, see, I'm having a ear stick. I'll call them
Your
ear
stick.
sticks to clean your ears out. So
Got it.
that's another funny that she cracks up over. But you might as well laugh. You know what else can you do?
Sure. Sure. And I noticed when we were talking before, you said all the numbers, right?
Right,
Instead of like 40, you say 40.
right.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. I went through cognitive therapy and I thought there's a lot of times I'll go out in public by myself and I won't like if I want a gift card and I have to ask someone to the amount for the gift card, I don't want to do it because I don't want to say I want it 50. So my cognitive therapist, she created a card and put it in my wallet. So then I'll present it to them and it says, I have problems with my numbers. I'm okay with 1 through 9, but after that it's 10, 11, 12. By me doing that and showing it, I've never had one cashier treat me like, oh, well, you're dumb. They're like, oh, okay. And they're very patient. And then they'll repeat back to me, oh, so you want 50, and then they'll repeat back what 50 is. So it's
Yeah.
just you have to really find things that work for you. Another problem that I have is, well, my long-term memory. I have no short-term memory. I can tell you where me and my wife went on our first date and to even take you to the seat. I can't tell you what I had for breakfast this morning right now. So there's a difficult connect there. I'll think I saw relatives out in town, and my wife will say, well, that person's deceased 2 years ago. I have no idea they're dead, but in my mind,
Mhm.
they're still alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you find that most people are supportive and friendly when they find out, or are some
For
people
the
kind
most
of
part, yes. I found there's two types of people. There's the kind of person that kind of just like dismisses it, like, oh, well, you're better now because you're talking to me.
I see.
But they don't realize that I don't go out in public if I'm having a bad day, and then later
Uh,
in the evening, I don't, there's times that my words come out and I think I'm saying words, but they're not words. And my wife will look at me and she'll say, your speech isn't making sense. You need to go rest.
I see.
But I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I understand exactly what I'm saying. It's all gibberish to her.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Are there many days like that? Is that frequent?
Um, they're not as bad as they used to be, but if I've had a long day and like, especially if it's a work day and I've worked all day on front of a screen, and then I'll go cut the grass or I'll go do this or go do that. I've used up, it's called the spoon theory. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or not, but basically, imagine you have 5 spoons, okay, in a cup, and you assign a number of spoons to something like work would be for you, it might be 1 spoon to work, or it might be a half a spoon. But for me, work might be 3 spoons. So you take the 3 spoons out of your cup and you've only got 2 spoons rest for the rest of the day. So now, let's see, do I mop the floor? Do I vacuum? Do I clean clean the bathtub? Or do I reserve those spoons for something else that I might need to do? Maybe I want to go to the grocery store and shop. So you have to, it's kind of like budgeting your energy. Here's the sad truth. After you've had a brain injury, if you're a neurotypical person, you go to bed at night, you wake up in the morning, your battery is completely charged. That's your baseline full.
Mhm.
When you have a brain injury, your baseline is half if you're lucky, or could be lower. So when I wake up in the morning, I've already have half a battery. It's like I have an old cell phone.
Yeah, I see.
So as soon as that energy's gone, you're done.
Got it.
Yeah.
I've never been called neurotypical before, but I don't take offense.
It's funny because in our support groups, we will call people neurotypical, but um, sometimes we'll call them the normals, like there's something wrong with
Mhm.
being normal.
Right. Right. No, this is so great. I'm so glad that you're doing this. It's very
Thank you.
brave and so powerful that you're sharing this journey. So, what are some of the resources that people that you share or that people can look for in order to find out more information?
Right. Well, one thing you can do is go to my website. It's myliferewired.com, which is the name of the book, myliferewired.com. On there, you can buy the book. There's resources. For example, one that I had no idea existed until about a year ago. It was just called jan.org. And you're thinking, jan.org, what is that? Job Accommodation Network. And they're not just specific to brain injury survivors, they're anybody with disabilities, but they help people with a disability to continue working. They're kind of like a go-between between you and your employer. Say you might just need a bigger screen to continue your work. Well, instead of people just leaving their job and filing for disability, they can work with your employer and say, this guy is capable of working. They might need this. They might require an extra break throughout the day. They might need a bigger screen or special chair, and they ensure that they work with them because of the American Disability Act, so they can continue to work. I had no idea that resource was out there.
Yeah,
There's
I
also
didn't either.
another one that's called, I think I'm telling you right, it's either Love Your Brain or Love My Brain. And they are a nonprofit. And what they do is they have survivors and the caregivers come out to, I think they're in Utah. I'd have to research that again. I can't remember where they're located, but I believe they're in Utah. And they have a retreat for survivors and for their caregivers. And it's to help them learn how to eat more brain healthy foods. Um, they offer yoga, relaxation classes, things like that. It's completely free of charge. I think they even pay for the airfare. The only thing that they ask of you to do is to attempt to raise half of the money. If you can't, if you raise a penny, they're going to accept you. But things like that, who knew that was out there? It's the best kept secret.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And speaking of that, you mentioned before that there's an event on August 14th that you wanted
Yes.
to talk about.
Yeah. Hercules Candy out of Syracuse, New York. I've been a fan of theirs, and I discovered them when I was laying in bed trying to find something to keep my mind occupied. And so they got me through a lot of sleepless nights with their YouTube videos. They make candies, chocolates, hard candies, you name it, they make it all. And they recently hit 1 million subscribers, and I had said something to their son during a live event they did, and I never dreamed that he would even respond to me. And I said, "Would you like to do conspire or not conspire?" I keep saying that word. Um, Here I am looking for the word again. Um, anyway, to get together to do a project to raise awareness for brain injuries, and he's like, "Sure." He said, "Send me an email," and I thought, "Sure, he'll blow me off." But no, he didn't. He actually responded to me. So on that date, we're going to do a brain injury awareness event. They're going to do a hard candy for brain injury awareness. On their live, they're actually going to take a poll to vote. People can vote on what flavor they want the candy to be. The proceeds are going to go to the Brain Injury Association of America. They're also going to give away a gift card to shop at Hercules Candy. They're going to give away a copy of my book. They're going to give away a bag of the awareness candy. And then another author who is a brain injury survivor has stepped up and she goes, "I'll give a book plus some soaps that I make." And she makes great soaps, let me tell you. So we're going to have this big giveaway. And if you want to get involved, we've made it so simple because, most of us have brain injuries. So we have to keep it simple. But you don't have to have a brain injury to be eligible for the contest. All you have to do, go to my website. I've got a button there that says contest. You just have to subscribe to their channel and our channel. That's step one. And step two is to leave a link, or not a leave a link, sorry, leave a hashtag that just says Hercules Candy. That enters you in the drawing. And then 2 weeks after the live event's over, we're going to draw all those fabulous prizes. And hopefully, this will be something that we can look forward to maybe annually. Who knows?
Wow, that sounds exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm gonna have you leave links
sure.
for all that stuff in the comments,
Yeah,
including your website and your whatever your books or whatever else you want to provide links for. So we'll put that in the comments so everyone watching can find more resources for awareness for brain injuries. So
thank you.
is there anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to share?
Um, yeah, please go to the YouTube channel that's just Life Rewired. There's a link through my website, but if you would just be so kind to just subscribe and share it. That helps, probably the algorithm a little bit better for YouTube
Sure.
than most, but when a channel doesn't have people that are commenting and sharing, it just kind of sits dormant. And the number of people that we have touched through our podcast, the emails that I get is just thank you so much for talking about the subject. It's nice to know that we're not alone. So this is a great way to support not just me, other survivors, to let them know that they're loved. And I'm thinking of the people like myself that are laying in bed at night trying to find something that resonates with them and they don't find it. This would be a great way for that to be pushed out so people will see this.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. So glad we did this, Rob. I'm really excited that I got to meet you and learn more about brain injury awareness.
Thank you.
If you're watching and you like what Rob said, or you just want to learn more about brain injuries, definitely check out the links that he's putting in the comments. Subscribe to his YouTube, subscribe to his podcast, and check out Hercules Candy.
Yep.
So, yeah, all great stuff. Rob, any final words to leave everyone with?
Just one thing that we always say to each other is be kind to yourself.
Be kind. Love that. I always tell people too, everything starts in order to heal, you need to love yourself. So I
Right.
think being kind to yourself is right on the same page. And
Yeah, I think if you think of the kindness that we show others, but we don't show it to ourselves.
yeah,
And you are definitely worthy of love and acceptance. So you got to, if you want to be kind, you got to start with this guy here.
amazing stuff, Rob. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here and sharing everything you shared.
Thanks.
So, and hopefully we'll have you back.
Yeah.
And everyone, definitely check out Rob's links. If you like what we're doing here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive, come and interview so we can share your story. Maybe there's something that we need to be more aware of, like a brain injury or some kind of, illness or disease or whatever it is that you need support with. We want to be here to support you. So let us know about it. And thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you at the next one.
Bye.